We all have felt trapped in our thoughts, going around in stories of the past and the future. You need to recognize that there is a silent force through which a thought captures your attention and pulls you into its own world. This quality that can absorb your attention is the thought's attractor field. It is a very common psychological mechanism, yet deeply subtle and essential to understand. What is the mechanism behind the attractor field of thoughts? When a thought arises, the mind begins to weave a story that seeks completion, and that story casts a small hook that demands your participation, like a half-finished sentence that pressures you to complete it, even when the story has no real necessity or truth behind it. If that hook combines with an emotion such as fear, expectation, or doubt, the attractor field intensifies, and the absorption happens almost without your awareness. Emotion is one of the major forces behind the attractor field. Imagine the content of the thought as the shape, the emotion as the charge that electrifies it, and your attention as the energy that sustains it. When these forces align, they create a small region in your mind where related ideas, images, and sensations begin to cluster. That clustering is the attractor field, a psychological zone that draws your awareness deeper the more you interact with it. This is how your attention becomes immersed in a mental narrative. Why do thoughts feel so convincing and realistic? A thought is like a shadow in your mind trying to take center stage, like a background noise that suddenly feels loud the moment you believe it matters. At first glance, it seems strong, almost inevitable. But in truth, its intensity depends on the importance you assign it the moment it appears. It has no power of its own. It only feeds on your credibility. A weak echo becomes thunder only when you amplify it with your attention. When a thought appears and insists, "This is important," or "This is dangerous," and you agree without noticing, the shadow of those stories seems to grow into a giant. Its apparent power does not come from the thought itself, but from the act of believing what it tells you. Thoughts feel convincing because your mind presents them with the same tone and urgency it uses for real experiences. The brain does not label them as just thoughts. It delivers them as if they were direct interpretations of reality. A sentence like, "You're not enough," or "This is going to go wrong," arrives with a certain inner authority, almost like a voice that claims, "I'm telling you the truth." And without noticing, you treat that tone as evidence. What happens when you fight negative thoughts? When you try to fight a negative thought, you unknowingly make it more important. You treat it as if it were real and solid, like wrestling with your own reflection, pushing against what you yourself are projecting. That resistance strengthens it because you continue behaving as though the thought has power over you. This is the paradox most humans don't take into consideration. It is like a door that only closes when you stop pushing it. The more force you apply, the more jammed it becomes. How do you free yourself from a thought if you cannot control it? The real way out of thoughts is not to force anything. It is to notice what is truly happening when the thought appears. Instead of believing it, you recognize it for what it is: a mental image, an inner dialogue, an insubstantial impulse, much like recognizing a dream upon waking, still vivid, yet clearly not what it claimed to be. That simple recognition breaks the automatic habit of getting caught. Then you no longer react to the thought or become immersed in it. Rather, you observe it passing by. You no longer enter the story. You see that it is only a story. That space between you and the thought changes everything. The attractor field loses its strength because you are no longer confusing mental content with reality. You feel something inside you clear up. You return to the position of the observer, where you can see what the mind does without getting trapped in its movement. From that space, thoughts become lighter. You recognize them as passing events that you can follow or not follow. They continue appearing, but they no longer drag you without your consent. They move like clouds crossing the open sky without leaving a trace. And you realize that the apparent power of negative thoughts was always an illusion created by your own belief in them. Subscribe to the Intronaut channel to go deeper into the mind, emotions, and reality. Leave a like if this resonated with you. Until the next video.